Monsters do have their place. In the zoo, in your nightmares, in the deep.
Hey, just sitting here on the floor. This is my Booktube, new to Booktube tag, which I thought I'd try since I did a couple videos and I didn't even know Booktube was a thing. So I have the questions printed out and we'll get started. So the first question, why did you start this channel? I didn't really start this channel for books. I started it for hiking videos and kayaking and bottle hunting videos, things I find in the pond, local adventures. Yeah, but then I started doing some book videos back in October for Halloween to celebrate the whole month, and I really enjoyed that. So I started doing some book videos, and that's how we got here. So the name of my channel is Billington Sea Monster, and that's Billington Sea is the lake I kayak on, and it's just a little play on words, monster, sea monster. Yeah, so that's where that comes from. Nothing to do with books. Okay, question number 2. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? I don't know how fun they're gonna be. So for 2020, I made myself a list, a book challenge list. I live in Plymouth, Massachusetts. It's our town's anniversary this year, so I have a lot of history books, actually some fiction too on there, that I'm planning to read that has to do with Plymouth. I don't think there's probably anyone else on YouTube that's doing a Plymouth, Massachusetts reading list this year. And that's not all I'm going to read this year. There's only like maybe 10 books on that list. I'm not sure. There's not a lot of books. I'm going to obviously mix that in with other things because I would lose my mind if I was just reading about Plymouth this year. That's not the only thing I'm interested in, obviously. But that might be unique anyways. And I do come up with reading lists for myself. Like if I travel somewhere, I like to read fiction and nonfiction for that location. And some of my videos I just did for October, I read like a ghost, supposedly true ghost stories, and I went and visited some of the locations. So I might do things like that if I can find another book with locations to visit. Things like that might be kind of unique. I don't know. Okay, on to question number 3. What are you most excited for about this new channel? Well, it's not a new channel, like I said, but I'm most excited to do more book videos because I found that I really loved getting to talk about books because I don't know too many people that read the same sort of books that I read or even read as much as I read, so it was really nice to, it's been really nice to sit down, even if I'm just talking to a camera, and get to talk about the books I'm reading. It's been very enjoyable for me, so that's what I'm looking forward to. Question number 4 is, why do you love reading? Because it gives me things to think about. I love to always have something on my mind that I'm thinking about, and gives you new thoughts and ideas, and adds depth to your already formed thoughts. And it's also inspiring. And this goes for both fiction and nonfiction. I feel you can be inspired by either. What else did I want to say? Oh, so I wrote down a quote. This is funny because I just happened to see this quote the other day, and it really sums up another reason why I love reading, so I wrote it down for this video. So it's, the best moments in reading are when you come across something, a thought, a feeling, a way of looking at things which you had thought special and particular to you. Now here it is, set down by someone else, a person you have never met, someone even who is long dead. And it is as if a hand has come out and taken yours. And that is by someone named Alan Bennett, who I should have looked up, but I didn't, so I don't know who he is. But I really felt that quote. Reading's like a friend. We'll say reading is like having a friend. So we're going to skip question 5 for the moment, and I'm going to come to it later because I really feel it goes with question number 8, and it will just flow better if I do it in a different order. So question number 6. What questions would you ask your favorite booktuber? I don't know. I don't have a favorite booktuber yet. I only just discovered that Booktube was a thing maybe a week ago. So I don't really have a favorite yet. Question number 7. What challenges do you think starting a Booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Balancing the book videos with the outside videos, I think. I don't want to go too much in one direction. I'd like it to be evenly books and outdoor stuff. So we're going to do question 8 now, and then I'm going to go back to 5, just because I feel like those two go together. So question 8 is, when did you start reading? I started reading when I was 12, basically, and of course I knew how to read before that, but I didn't read before that. I read maybe 4 or 5 books in elementary school. I could tell you them if I stopped and thought about it, because there was only 5 of them, and I remember the experience of reading them each very well. But no, I hated reading before the age of 12. I couldn't stand reading. I didn't want to sit still and read a book. And I also, when I was very young, had a lot of trouble reading out loud, and writing. I had a lot of trouble with, so I really hated school a lot. I had to take some special classes, and it wasn't a good time for me. And in fact, the summer between 3rd and 4th grade, I was so worried about the next year in reading class, having to read out loud, that I somehow got a hold of the 4th grade reading book. I'm not sure exactly how, but I brought the 4th grade reading book home with me for the summer. I don't know how I got that book. And I basically just read that book, practiced reading that book out loud to myself over the whole summer. I had a little tape recorder, and I would read into the tape recorder and listen back, just because I wanted to be more confident in my reading, and I think that actually really did help. But the funny thing is, in 4th grade, the teacher didn't even end up using our reading book. We never cracked that book open. We didn't really follow along the curriculum in 4th grade. But it wasn't a complete waste, because like I said, it really helped me, and I felt a great improvement actually in my ability after that summer. Yeah, so I couldn't stand reading, though. I couldn't stand school, and that's not to say that I didn't like books, because I was read to. I actually really enjoyed being read to. My mom took me to the library, probably starting when I was like 5, I want to say, and I would always go to the young adult section and look for like the creepiest, most mysterious looking books, like if it had like a haunted house or a spooky forest, and like they put these little mystery stickers on the binding, on the spine. I would go for those. Those were my favorite when I was young. Okay, but so what book got you into reading? So I basically, like I said, hadn't really, all through elementary school, really read anything. When I was 12, I read a few Sweet Valley Twins books, and then my teacher was telling me about Gone with the Wind. And I decided to actually read this 1,000-page thick book. And that is basically the first real book I read, and what really got me into reading. I read that book for days and days. It was the only thing I did. I'd bring it to school. I'd have it like open inside my desk, and I'd be like reading it whenever the teacher wasn't looking. I brought it to the lunch table. The second I got home from school, I would take that book out of my bag and go to my room and just lie in bed and read that book. I would like miss dinner because I just had to be reading. I stayed up like till midnight, 1 a.m. at times reading this book. I wake up in the morning with my like face down in the book, and I remember one time I came home from school and I had just been staying up late like every night reading this book, and I was so tired. I fell asleep while reading it. And I woke up, and I thought it was the next day, and I started getting ready for school, but it was, like, really only dinner time. So I was really into the book, And that was all I did for, I don't know, however long it took me to read it. And after that, I was in such a habit of reading that I had to find things to read, and I couldn't stop reading after that. So, if you have a kid that like doesn't like to read, it can all turn around. It can turn around at any time. I wouldn't worry about it. Okay, question 9. Where do you read? That's a silly question. Where don't I read would be a better question. I read everywhere. I have 2 different jobs, and I read at one of my jobs. I'm not going to say which one, so the other one doesn't get mad. But yeah, I read at work. I read in the kayak even, which isn't really the smartest idea because water and paper don't really mix, but that's very enjoyable. Really, I everywhere I can. That's the best answer to that question. Okay, number 10. What kind of books do you like to read? So what I read probably the most of would be classic literature, British literature, just classic literature, I guess. I read a lot of psychology, biography, nature, science, survival story, like true survival stories. I really love like weird books though, like paranormal, ghosts, just weird happenings, weird, strange places. What else do I read? If something just suddenly catches my interest, I'll just start reading all about that. So a lot of people I noticed on the Booktube tags, like, read YA fiction. I don't really, except what I would probably call vintage YA fiction, like 60s, 70s, and 80s. And it has to be like horror stories, ghost stories, weird science fiction about like clones or time travel or time slips, anything like that. I'm really, really into those older books about those subjects. Yeah, so some of my favorite books, though, just so you could get an idea, would be like Great Expectations or Jane Eyre, The Great Gatsby, This Side of Paradise, The Little Prince, Watership Down, what else? Far from the Madding Crowd, Shirley Jackson books, that's like my latest love. Oh my gosh, I wish I had discovered her sooner. Like, I wish I had discovered her when I was a lot younger. I love her, she's amazing. Yeah, that's like my current favorite author, but I also love F. Scott Fitzgerald. That was like my teenage love. And Thomas Hardy. Those are probably my 3 favorite authors. So I love talking about books. I have all kinds of book-related topics I'll be making videos on. So hopefully I see you again. Thank you for watching.
If you see this ghoul, play it cool.